Welcome to Attention Talk Video, where we pay attention to attention. Now, here's your host, Jeff Copper.
Welcome, everybody. I'm cognitive engineer and ADHD coach Jeff Copper, here to talk about relationships with ADHD and communication. I want to explain a dynamic that happens a lot as to why things happen they are and talk about what you can do about it. It's not uncommon for people in relationships to get upset because they feel like the other person's cutting them off. They're not allowed to let themselves finish. Now, sometimes people with ADHD can get they can cut other people off when they don't think they're paying attention to the right thing. But there's another piece that's important. People with ADHD struggle with their executive functions, specifically working memory. Working memory is the ability to problem solve, hold thoughts in your mind, and there's capacity issues, etc. When somebody's talking, somebody with ADHD might hear something the person says, it sparks a thought or an idea. When that comes in their brain, they've got a limited period of time before it perishes. It just escapes, it evaporates. Now, understand when an idea comes to their mind, they probably haven't really thought through it. A lot of times, people with ADHD, they have to talk out loud to understand what things are about. So when they have this idea in the middle of this conversation, they have this incredible urge to talk through whatever popped into their head. So there's a working memory problem. Like, I feel the urgency to get this out or I'm going to forget it. And then there's a self-regulation problem, which is the urge just to interrupt the other person. Well, this is where self-awareness comes into play because a lot of times people with ADHD, they're not aware of this. It's happening so fast and they have such emotions around it, it's really difficult for them. So we've got executive functions that are at play here, and there's nothing worse when you're in a conversation and somebody's kind of cut you off. Now, this holds true for people with ADHD, but it also holds true to a certain extent for neurotypicals. So often you have this conversation that's going on between the two, and both parties tend to keep cutting each other off because they have a thought that they're trying to process. So they're interrupting the other person, and they're not actually able to get to their point. We can begin to understand legitimately why they would do that, but still, this is somewhat disruptive. So what do? Well, structured conversations are good when you sit down and you actually take notes. So the other person is writing, you'll sit there and pause and have a couple buzzwords. Or one of these things where you do where you have something like a device and you give it to the other person and they're allowed to talk until they finish with it, then you can hold it. So that way we don't have two people talking over the top of each other. When you get creative and innovate, there's all kinds of other ideas like this. Like maybe you could make some points, list of things that you want to like make a point when you're having a conversation beforehand, etc. But the point really is of this is to bring your awareness to when you're talking with somebody in relationships, those executive functions. And the idea is I have an idea or thought, I need to do something with it because if I don't, I'm going to forget it, and have the couple work their way through in a form that really makes a lot of sense for them. I will tell you, if you do have ADHD and you've heard people say you keep cutting me off, self-awareness is a really big deal at this point in time to become aware of it because you're instinctively doing this, but you're kind of creating a little bit of a problem. And when you cut people off a lot and don't let them finish, at some point in time, they just give up. And what happens then is as time goes on, things start going on in dynamics and you don't really understand it because you never actually listen to them. So I know a lot of people listen a lot of times for the easy answer, the tip or trick, but sometimes it's really about problem solving, and sometimes it's about negotiating problem solving with those around you. So I hope this has given you pause to think. If you're new to our channel, please hit subscribe. Also, we comments, like our channel so that we can continue to put this stuff out there. So with that, we hope you've enjoyed this. Take care.